Welcome back to Good Morning SKN, and what you just saw is the trailer of 1 Year Off, an MSR production. So you might be familiar with the name MSR Media, a boutique film and television production company based in York, England. Recently, it was announced that MSR will be producing a new film in St. Kitts. And if you were not familiar with that story, then perhaps you would have heard of their work on Nevis. MSR Media has undertaken commercially viable film and television projects with very high production values, bankable lead actors, yet with economically sound budgets. Today, we welcome MSR producer Phillipe Martinez. Mr. Martinez, welcome to Good Morning SKN.
Thank you, and congratulations on your show. It's a wonderful thing for the country.
Thank you so very much, sir. So we just saw your trailer, 1 Year Off. Can you tell us what we saw in that trailer?
Well, it's a romantic comedy about a few people, a group of friends. They've been friends for years, and one of them finds out his heritage, and he grew up without knowing who his father was. And at the death of his father, he received a letter from a lawyer telling him that his father was from Nevis. So he invites all his friends to come to Nevis to help him, in this important moment of his life. And when they arrive on the island, they are submerged by the beauty of the island and its history, and they decided to take 1 year off and stay there and start a brand new life.
Very interesting. And we noted in that the persons, a group of friends eventually decided that they would start a wedding business. So we know as a tropical island that that's indeed some of the things that we do. So what evolves in terms of that wedding business?
Um, I think that, when you live in big cities, sometimes you miss the essential. Um, you miss that life could be more simple, life could be more authentic, and that's what that movie is about. It's about finding yourself and finding what you really want in life. Um, and um, you know, Let me give you a specific example. People that live in a big building in New York or in London, most of the time they don't know the person living the floor above or the floor below, or sometimes even the door next to them. Here in Nevis or in St. Kitts, uh, you know most of the people. And when I drive around Nevis with my car, everybody waves at me. Everybody say hello. How are you, Philippe? So it's a completely different. It's more of a village feeling, and that puts you in a different set of mind because you think community and how to improve the life of the community, and therefore you're improving your life.
Mr. Martinez, is that what drew you to Nevis, drew you to St. Kitts and Nevis for this movie?
Well, initially, as you know, the world is in a pandemic for 2 years now, and we produce 6 movies a year. And we knew that in England, because we're based in the US and in England, MSR Media, we realized that we will have a tough time to make 5 or 6 movies a year in the middle of the pandemic. So we looked at the places in the world where the pandemic was under control. And thanks to the good job that the task force that did in St. Kitts and Nevis, we say, okay, why don't we go to St. Kitts and Nevis and let's try to see one movie and see if it works. And we did. We came with about 40 people from the UK and the US. Um, we hired a lot of people here locally, and we did the first film 1 year off. And then in the last 10 months, we've already shot 4 movies. We finished a film called Christmas in the Caribbean. with Elizabeth Hurley last week in St. Kitts.
Okay, that's good. So we know that the movie process involves different levels, different areas. We have from the time there is a call for actors, the auditions, the shooting, the editing. From start to finish, about how long does it take for one of these movies to be produced?
Well, every movie has a different but life. You know, some movie takes 10 years to happen. But from the moment we start a project, from the writing to the time that it's on the air, um, and all our movies goes on Netflix or Amazon or Lionsgate or Screen Media, um, that takes us about 14 months from the moment we start working on the screenplay to the movie to be out and released, which is very, very fast.
Okay, great.
Has a release date been set yet, Mr. Martinez, for 1 year off? And if so,
For
will it
1 year
be?
off,
Yes.
actually, we did a movie in June called A Week in Paradise that's with Malin Ackerman, and that's going to be released in the US in February. We did a movie called A Salient that's going to be released in the US in March. 1 year off is going to be released, I believe, in September.
Okay, sounds good. So, in terms of that movie, we see that the friends they go to this resort. We see several characters. In terms of your call for actors that took place for your several movies in St. Kitts and Nevis, do you see any potential in terms of local actors who may be able to make it onto that big screen?
We have, and we started an acting academy when we started 1 year off to train local actors. So actually, in 1 year off, we have three local actors that have really very interesting roles. And on every movie that we make, we have included um, speaking parts of local actors.
Okay. So, what about the technical aspect as well? We would also assume that locals would have been interviewed for the technical jobs, filming, editing, etc.
Absolutely. And I can tell you that more than 50% of the crew is actually composed of local film crew. The first movie, 1 year off, it was their first movie, so it was a little bit challenging. But now that they've done 4 movies already, not only uh, we have more than 50% of the crew composed of local people, but on top of that, some became heads of department. Can tell you the example of Vaughan, who's the head of the production design department, which means that he's in charge of sure that all the sets are chosen and perfect for the vision of the director.
And Jamie, we have to commend them for that,
Absolutely.
including our local community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Martinez. So what's next for MSR and St. Kitts and Nevis?
Well, what's next is that in order for MSR to keep creating jobs and investing in St. Kitts and Nevis, uh, we have to see a long-term plan. Um, you see, right now, there is no infrastructure. Uh, we came a little bit as pioneer. We brought our equipment. We brought qualified crew. We've trained and hired local people. But in order to make um, more movies, bigger movies, and also to attract other friends, producers from Hollywood to discover this beautiful country, we need infrastructure. So we are right now discussing with the government to possibly um, set up a real film infrastructure and building a film studio and everything that goes around the film studio, as well as a world-class music studio.